Uber, the ride-hailing app, was valued between $60 and $70 billion at the beginning of 2017, with CEO Travis Kalanick's position at the firm seemingly secure. Now, after reports of sexual harassment and unethical business practice inside Uber, Kalanick is out and $10 billion has been wiped off the value of the privately owned company. But as startups go, Uber is still arguably the most successful of all time. Before 2011, if you wanted a cab, you did it the old way. Now, for 50 million Uber users in 450 cities around the world, taxi transportation is determined by GPS and automated payments, all linked through smartphones. So, as the users increased, so did investors. Jay-Z and Jeff Bezos were just two of the notable backers who poured money into Uber, helping it grow and further disrupt the taxi industry. It wasn't all smooth sailing though. Uber's expensive push into China came to an abrupt end in 2016 when its domestic rival Didi Chuxing announced it had acquired Uber China. And more recently, Uber merged with Yandex, marking its exit from another major international market, Russia. Governments, drivers and passengers launched a seemingly endless stream of lawsuits, and taxi firms organised protests in Europe and South America as they recognised their businesses were under threat. Uber's legal and ethical conduct was put under further scrutiny when their drivers argued that they were being exploited as part of the sharing economy. Despite this, Uber continued to transform itself from a black car service into an extensive logistics company, driving towards a future of autonomous vehicles. 2017, however, has put the brakes on Uber's and Kalanick's rise. Real trouble began in January when an online campaign protesting the company's connection to President Trump lost them 200,000 customers in just one weekend. Uber's reputation took a bigger hit a month later, when it was forced to launch an investigation into sexual harassment and gender bias within the company. 215 complaints were registered by the beginning of June, and 20 employees were fired as a result. But that investigation at least was internal. Waymo, a rival in autonomous car development, is suing Uber for intellectual property theft. At the same time, the company faces a criminal investigation into its use of the tool Greyball, which was reportedly used to evade authorities and city regulations. By June, 12 high-level Uber execs had left the company. For Kalanick, viral dashcam footage of a heated dispute with a company driver and the leak of his now infamous Miami letter, in which he issued sex guidelines to employees attending a company party in 2013, resulted in him taking a temporary leave of absence. But 7 days later, that temporary leave turned into a permanent resignation. So what was the final straw? Another lawsuit. It was filed on behalf of a woman in India who was sexually assaulted by her Uber driver. Despite the guilty verdict, Kalanick and his team allegedly dug into her private medical records in an effort to discredit her. This was the final nail in the coffin. Days later, 5 powerful Silicon Valley investors penned a letter demanding Kalanick's resignation. Uber now has a number of high-ranking positions it needs to fill. In addition to a new CEO, it also needs a chief operating officer, general counsel, senior vice president of engineering, chief marketing officer, and board chair. And Uber needs to act quickly too. In the first financial quarter this year, the company lost $700 million. The polarizing figure of Kalanick now joins a select group of former CEOs, including Steve Jobs and Jack Dorsey, who founded their own companies, to then be unceremoniously ousted. But Kalanick will remain on the Uber board of directors and still has veto power. Many believe as long as he has one hand on the steering wheel, a return to the driver's seat is still possible.